Hello, everybody, and welcome to Between the Bumps Professional Wrestling Podcast, the pro wrestling podcast where we go between the bumps in the ring to discuss match quality, storylines, wrestling news, and even make predictions in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. I'm your host, Christian Marrero. Thanks for tuning in. All right, everybody, hello, and thank you for tuning in to the second episode of Between the Bumps Professional Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Christian Marrero, and tonight we have the AEW Dynamite review show, and I am very excited. Last night's show was just awesome. It was so good. I enjoyed it very, very much, so I am very excited to get in and talk about it. So let's just dive right in. And let me preface this with saying AEW Dynamite is by far my favorite wrestling on the planet Earth right now. I just love AEW. I think that they are doing so much right. I really do. I think they are just absolutely killing it, and I see a very bright future ahead for this company. I think All Elite Wrestling is awesome, and I am very, very excited for what's to come in the future. Anyways, let's start with last night's Dynamite. So last night was the follow-up show to Double or Nothing, and it starts with an Inner Circle backstage segment, skit, and it's pretty much the Inner Circle promoting the pep rally that they're going to have later on in the show, and they have these boxes of Stadium Stampede shirts that Chris Jericho had made, and they have to figure out what to do with them because they say Inner Circle Stadium Stampede champions. But obviously, the Inner Circle did not win the Stadium Stampede match. So Chris Jericho finds a silver lining in the fact like, hey, at least it's just a few boxes that we gotta deal with. And that's when Santana comes in and he's like, actually, boss, no, it's not just a few boxes. And he's sitting on the back of a truck. He opens the truck, and it's just filled with boxes of these shirts. It was a really funny segment. It got a chuckle out of me. It had Chris Jericho's fingerprints all over it. Chris Jericho is just awesome. The Inner Circle is just awesome. They are really, really, really funny. Anyways, we go from that and we transition into the first match of the night. And it was a 6-man tag match between Matt Hardy and the Young Bucks taking on Joey Janela and Private Party. And before the match, we had a promo with Matt Hardy and the Elite, a backstage promo. And during the promo, Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, they just leave. First it was Hangman, and Kenny decides to follow. After they leave, the Bucks ask Matt for a different version of him tonight in their match. And so Matt comes out in his original Hardy Boys gimmick that we know from WWE. And they're like, actually, no, could you go a little more classic than that? And then he comes out in his original Hardy Boy gimmick from Omega. And that's his own old school gimmick. And that was from his own promotion back in North Carolina. I was not expecting it, but it was awesome. And this match was awesome. This match was really good. The Young Bucks and Private Party, they have really good chemistry with each other. Not only as opponents, but like the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick, they're brothers. So obviously they have great chemistry together. They work really well together. They know each other so well. But Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn of Private Party, they work awesome together. They are a really, really great tag team. So anyways, this was just a bunch of spots. It was just spot after spot after spot, double team after double team after double team, awesome move after awesome move. And at one point during the match, Nick Jackson goes to super kick somebody on the outside. I can't remember if it was Joey Janela or Mark Quinn, but whoever it was, they move out of the way, and he super kicks the Blade from Butcher and Blade. And Blade pulls him over the railing, and they jump Nick Jackson. That being the Butcher and the Blade. They jump Nick Jackson. They attack him. The referee's attention is diverted this whole time. Jim Ross uses this opportunity to take a small shot at WWE because, okay, context. Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and JR were discussing how having wrestlers as your crowd can lead to confrontations like this because some of the wrestlers don't like each other. Sometimes tensions will be built. Sometimes hits will go flying and hit people they're not supposed to hit. And so confrontation can be had. So Jim Ross takes a shot at WWE by saying pretty much, oh, well, at least they don't got plexiglass in front of them. And that's because if you watch Monday Night Raw, WWE had the NXT talents as the crowd, and they had them behind plexiglass. So Ross took a small shot at WWE with that. It wasn't like a terrible, oh, fuck WWE type shot, but it was really funny. I laughed. Anyways, after this, Matt Hardy hits a moonsault, and a very beautiful moonsault. Let me remind you that Matt Hardy's like 43, or possibly older, and he hits an awesome moonsault on all three of his opponents. It was awesome. I didn't even know that Matt Hardy could hit a moonsault. Like, I've never seen Matt Hardy hit a fucking moonsault, and he did it awesome. So, there's some more in-the-ring action, you know, and this is when kind of things took a shift, because Mark Quinn was doing some kind of spot from the outside. I don't know if, or to the outside. I don't know if it was a dive. I don't know if it was a slam. I can't quite remember. But I do know that as soon as he lands, he clutches his leg and he can't stand up after that. And it didn't seem fake. Like, it seemed like he was legitimately trying to continue the match and he was just crumbling. So, he's possibly injured, and that would really, really suck. That would be the third injury in 2 weeks that we've had on AEW Dynamite. And, like, you know, these things happen in pro wrestling. If he is injured, we want to wish him the best recovery and hopefully a speedy recovery so that he can get back to work, because he is very talented. And Private Party is a great tag team. Anyway, the Young Bucks and Matt Hardy, they win the match by pinfall. They get the win. They pin Isaiah Cassidy, and they pick up the victory. After the match, the Butcher and the Blade attack the Young Bucks. And this is when things got crazy. This was when I was shook to my core. I popped, okay? I popped for what I'm about to tell you guys. I popped so hard. And it wasn't even a pop like cheering. It was a pop like I was stunned and just so excited and so hyped immediately. As soon as what happened, okay. My girlfriend watches Dynamite with me. It's really the only wrestling show that she legit enjoys enough to take the time out and watch it with me. So, we're watching, and when these two people make their entrance, all I said was, oh my god. I was stunned. And the two people I am referring to are Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR, previously known as the Revival in WWE. They come in on an awesome classic truck. I don't know the make or model of the truck. But it's a classic one. It's one of the old school trucks. And they come and they attack Butcher and Blade. And I was so excited. They hit Blade with an awesome spike pile driver, and then they hit Butcher with the Shatter Machine, and that is probably the coolest tag team move in all of pro wrestling, bar none. I think it's the best tag team move in pro wrestling. The Shatter Machine is just awesome. So, they teased that they were gonna attack the Young Bucks, but then they turn and attack Butcher and the Blade, and then they have a stare down with the Young Bucks, and then they just leave in their truck. So now, FTR, formerly known as the Revival, are all elite, and I'm so happy about this. They are an amazing tag team. You know, AEW has a great tag team division, and they're going to be right at home. They're going to fit in perfectly, and this is awesome. This is an amazing acquisition. They are right where they belong, in my opinion. I'm very glad that they have signed with All Elite Wrestling. All Elite Wrestling and FTR are going to go together like peanut butter and jelly. That is my prediction. I'm very excited about this. So, after that, we have a squash match between Brian Cage and Lee Johnson. It was literally like 2 minutes long. It was just Brian Cage beating the hell out of Lee Johnson. He hits that amazing drill claw move where it's almost like it's like a brainbuster pile driver vertical suplex combination. It's amazing. That drill claw just looks awesome, and Brian Cage is awesome at delivering it. And it's literally about a 2-minute match. It was a very good squash. Anyways, Taz cuts a promo on Moxley, who was on commentary, after the match. He says that he respects Moxley and everything he's done in the pro wrestling industry, and he tells Moxley that Moxley is definitely a top guy. And then he goes on to say to Moxley to bring his fight, his grit, and most importantly, his heart, because Brian Cage is going to rip it out at Fyter Fest. And then he had a really cool line that I really enjoyed. It was, beat him if you can, survive if he lets you. And Taz is a really good talker. I think we forget because we constantly hear him on commentary. So, but to be on commentary, you have to be a good talker, and Taz is arguably one of the best. So it was a really good promo. I like the fact that he's paired with Brian Cage. I really do. I don't think Brian Cage should be cutting promos. I don't know how good of a promo guy Brian Cage is. For all I know, he could be the best talker, but just having Taz do the talking for him, I don't know, it makes him seem really badass. I really like it. Anyways, then we move on to a Britt Baker segment where she's pretty much, we thought at least she was going to give us an update on her condition. But instead, she comes out on a wheelchair. They wheel her out, and on the back of the wheelchair, it says role model, but role is spelled R-O-L-L because she is on a wheelchair and wheelchairs roll. Me and my girlfriend laughed. It was a dumb pun, but it was funny. Anyways, she continues her gimmick of rules of being a role model. She continues this segment, and she says, rule number 3, because she did 1 and 2 in previous weeks, do not hurt the role model. And then she goes on to say that the attack on her last week is a conspiracy. She says there is no women's division without her, and that this is all a conspiracy against her. So she starts attacking the 3 women in the match who were involved when she got injured. She says that Chris Statlander, being an alien, is a, and I quote, crock of shit, and for that, Statlander is a conspirator. She says that Shida carries a weapon and broke her nose, so Hikaru Shida is a conspirator. She says that Nyla Rose is graceful and she has seen her wrestle before, so she should have been able to redirect herself during her fall, but she did not, so she is also a conspirator. And then she goes on to claim that Aubrey Edwards, the referee Aubrey Edwards, is the brains of this whole operation, because Aubrey was there for her concussion and her leg injury, and she was somewhere for her broken nose. It was a really funny line. Britt Baker just is an amazing heel. She's honestly my favorite woman on the roster right now. I love Britt Baker. I really do. She cracks me up every time she's on screen. She's a good heel. She's just got it. She's got the timing down. She's got the wittiness down. And she's got the attitude down. She's just really, really good at this. And then she goes on to say that she will return at All Out. So, she's not going to be gone for long, but she's going to be gone for a couple of months. It's better than, they were talking about a torn ACL 6 to 9 months. So, it's very fortunate for her that it's not going to be that long, but it does suck that she has to miss time, because I really enjoy Britt Baker, and I really like having her on the show. So it's going to suck to not have her on the show. But the women's division is increasingly improving. It is becoming better and better with each passing week. So I think they'll be fine. I just hope that when she's back, they find a way to put her back into the main event mix very quickly, because she'll do very good in that spot, I believe. After this, we had an Inner Circle backstage interview to promote the pep rally later. And during the interview, this is the most important part, Orange Cassidy just walks through the frame. Just strolling on all gingerly, as Orange Cassidy does. And then Chris Jericho says, "See you later, Orange." And we know what that means. Orange gonna get his ass kicked later. So then, we had another match, and it was Christy Janes versus Hikaru Shida in a non-title match. Now, Hikaru Shida being the champion, I think, is a really good choice. Not that Nyla Rose was not. I was so happy when Nyla won the championship. I'm a big Nyla Rose fan. I think Nyla Rose is awesome. But Hikaru Shida is just a little bit more awesome, in my opinion. And she's probably my favorite just all-around wrestler on the show. Like, if you're not talking character, if you're just talking in-ring ability, she's not, like, my overall favorite wrestler, but, like, of the females, she's definitely my favorite female wrestler on the show when it comes to just wrestling. So, in this match, I will say, Christy Janes looked a little green. It kind of seemed like Hikaru was carrying her through the match. And I don't know, this might have been her AEW debut, or she might have appeared on Dark before. But I don't think she's ever been on Dynamite. And so she looked a little green, but she wasn't terrible. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that she was just awful. Like, she was just a little tiny bit green. So anyways, Hikaru wins with a pinfall after hitting the Falcon Arrow. It wasn't like exactly a squash match, but it was pretty much a squash match. Like, Shida did 90% of the offense in this match. So, you know, it was what it was. James looked a little green, but overall it was still a good match. It was still enjoyable. It wasn't hard to get through. Then we had a picture-in-picture segment, and that's the only thing I can criticize about the segment, is that it was picture-in-picture. This probably would have been so much better with sound and, like, actually being presented. But anyway, we see Kenny Omega and Hangman Page hanging out in a hotel room after leaving during the Bucks and Matt Hardy promo video earlier. Page is drinking as usual, and it's really funny because Kenny is drinking a glass of milk. And he has the gallon of milk in a wine bucket on ice. That really cracked me up. So at one point, Hangman notices the camera that is recording them in the corner of the room. He goes up to it and inspects it, and he seems to question Kenny about it. We don't really know because there was no sound. But, it was just kind of an update on them. I do think this segment would have been a lot better had it not been picture-in-picture. Because there was no sound, so we don't know what they were saying, if there were any funny quips. But anyway, let's move on, because I really can't talk about that segment anymore because it was picture-in-picture, so I don't know what really happened. So then we have an interview with Cody in the ring, and Tony Schiavone is the one conducting the interview about Cody's Double or Nothing victory. And Cody made a funny reference to WWE in saying that he's not welcome back in Connecticut. And then he goes on to say that when Tony Khan started AEW, he wanted to assemble a roster made up of the best wrestlers in the world. But he didn't call Cody first. He did not call Cody second. He didn't even call Cody third. He called him fourth. So he goes on to say that he's not like his father. He's not like Dusty. He says that his older brother Dustin got all of the Dusty genes. And then he goes on to say, I think I got something a little better. And he talks about his mother, a mean little Cuban lady, as he describes her. And he says that his mother taught him everything. And that even though he was never the most talented, he will go against someone with all the talent in the world and he will outwork them. He will try and try and try until he gets what he wants. And then he says that he will make an open challenge every week on Dynamite to prove himself to anyone who is critical of his in-ring ability. He says to follow him now because, and I quote, this is where the fun begins. Can we all just agree that Cody Rhodes is an amazing promo cutter? Can we all just agree that this dude is one of the best talkers in the game right now? Because I think he is. I'm going to go out and say it. Like, he is one of the best talkers in all of pro wrestling today. That dude, everything he says, I believe, and he gets me. Like, he really does get to me on an emotional level. He just knows how to connect. I think him winning the TNT Championship was the right call, because it is the wrestler who makes the title, not the title who makes the wrestler. Because this is a brand new title with no history. It needs to be around the waist of someone like a Cody Rhodes, someone who can elevate the title to a level so that when he eventually passes it on to someone else, that prestige is passed on with the belt. I think it was the right call. And I think Cody Rhodes deserves a lot more credit than what people give him. He is constantly putting others over, trying to make other people look amazing, and people want to shit on him because he won this title. He did not book himself to win the title. Tony Khan has come out various times and said, hey, I'm the booker. I decide what goes down. And even if Cody did book himself, it was the right booking call. It was the right call. That is what we should have done. I think Cody deserves a lot of credit. I think Cody really, really, really deserves a lot of credit because this is a brand new title. It has no history. The only way it is going to get over is if you put it on someone who is over. And regardless of what people want to pretend on the internet, Cody Rhodes is over as hell, one of the most over people in AEW. And the crowd reactions he was getting before the pandemic started is proof of that. All you have to do is go back and watch the crowd reactions he gets. He is OVER over. Anyways, let's continue. So, after that interview, we had a match between SCU, that would be Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, facing Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc. Sabian and Havoc attack SCU before the match started, and it was a good back and forth, man. I will say, some of the best double team work I've ever seen is by SCU. Those two have amazing chemistry. They really, really do. Like, they have amazing, amazing chemistry. Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, first off, they're both veterans. They're both talented. Frankie Kazarian defies all logic when it comes to aging. Like, he looks like he did 15 years ago, and he moves like he did 20 years ago. He doesn't make any sense. He's so good. Like, Frankie Kazarian is so insanely talented. And then Scorpio Sky, come on. That dude is just top tier in terms of in-ring capability. That dude's awesome. Anyway, Sabian and Havoc win with this cool... It was a cool little double team move. It was a Michinoku driver kick drop combination. And so they will now go on to face Hangman Page and Kenny Omega for the titles, which kind of confuses me because I'm almost certain that Best Friends won the number one contendership at the buy-in for Double or Nothing. So for these people to now be offered number one contendership doesn't really make sense to me. But I think I know why they did it. I think Excalibur gave away a spoiler by accident, because he said that at Fyter Fest, Sabian and Havoc will face Best Friends for the title. And then he tried to cover it up real quick, whoever wins the title. But I think he spoiled something by accident. You know, it happens. It really does happen. They have to know the long-term booking so that they can make calls, so that they can make informed calls on their commentary. But I do think that Excalibur accidentally let one slip. I'm not sure, and I won't be sure until Fyter Fest. But anyways, that was the match. It was very simple affair, very by the books AEW tag team match. Their tag team division is just awesome. Like, I was not a fan of tag team wrestling, honestly, until AEW came along. I'm going to be completely honest. I was never that into tag team wrestling. And then AEW came along and they just showed me, they opened my eyes to how amazing tag team wrestling could really be. So after this, we have a promo from MJF backstage. And the real important part of this promo, you know, he was talking about how he's been undefeated and he has not been offered a world title shot. So now he's going to go participate in the Battle Royal for a shot at the TNT Championship. But then he teases some tension with Wardlow. So Wardlow might be turning on MJF soon, and they tease this further in the match. I'll talk about that later on. Okay, so then we enter the Battle Royal for the number one contendership for the TNT Championship next week. So whoever wins this Battle Royal is going on to face Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship on next week's Dynamite. The people in this match were Luther, Sonny Kiss, Colt Cabana, Brandon Cutler, Peter Avalon, Christopher Daniels, Marco Stunt, Billy Gunn, who just randomly entered from the crowd. Like, he was sitting in the audience. He was helping create that atmosphere. He just rips off his clothes. Turns out he had wrestling gear under his clothes, and now he's in the match. Luchasaurus, MJF, Wardlow, Orange Cassidy, and Jungle Boy. So this was pretty much what you expect from an over-the-top Battle Royal. It was insane. There was a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts. So the elimination order went like this. First, Luther was the one to go. Luther was the first person eliminated, followed by Sonny Kiss, then Colt Cabana, And when Colt Cabana was eliminated, they kind of teased a Dark Order thing with him. Like one of the members of the Dark Order, like the one you see in the promo videos promoting the Dark Order, came and gave him a Dark Order flyer. So we might see Colt Cabana feud or join the Dark Order. We don't know yet, but they did tease it. Then Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon, they got into a scuffle. And they eliminated each other simultaneously. This is to play off of the segments they've been doing on BTE. It was really funny. If you watch Being the Elite, I'm sure it got a chuckle out of you. I'm sure it cracked you up. It certainly cracked me up. Those two are just hilarious. Christopher Daniels was eliminated by Marco Stunt, and I was legitimately shook. But then Marco Stunt gets chunked out by Luchasaurus. Not by Luchasaurus, I'm sorry. By Wardlow. Marco did, though, various times try to eliminate his homeboy Luchasaurus, and it was funny because Luchasaurus would just be standing by the rope, Marco would grab his leg, and Luchasaurus would just look at him like, what are you doing, little buddy? Come on, we're supposed to be friends, and you're definitely not eliminating me. So anyway, after Marco Stunt was eliminated, Billy Gunn and Luchasaurus both went out simultaneously, and then MJF got eliminated, but that was not before accidentally punching Wardlow in the face. So that was what I was talking about, is that they teased more tension and further separation in the match because Wardlow got punched by MJF while wearing his Dynamite diamond ring. So Orange Cassidy gets eliminated, and before the match, Orange Cassidy got attacked by Santana and Ortiz. So he wasn't in the match pretty much. Like, he didn't make an appearance until the end. And my boy, I was so happy when this match started. I said it. I hope Jungle Boy wins, and Jungle Boy won by eliminating Orange Cassidy. I am so ecstatic about this. I love Jungle Boy. Okay, I'm going to come right out and say it. I think he has it. Whatever it is in the world of professional wrestling that makes you successful, I think Jungle Boy has it. I think he is going to be one of AEW's best assets in the future. I think that he has so much untapped potential, and I think that he is only going to go upwards from here. He has it. I don't know what it is. The first time I saw Jungle Boy, something about him was like, that kid right there, he's my age, by the way. That kid right there, he's got something. He's got something special about him. And this was before I knew he was Rick Perry's son, or Luke Perry's son. Rick Perry's the governor of Texas, not Luke Perry. This was before I knew he was Luke Perry's son. And I think he's special. I really do. So I am super excited that he won the match. He is now going on to face Cody next week for the TNT Championship. He's probably not going to win, let's be honest. Cody is probably going to hold that title for a really long time. But that match is going to be awesome. Have no qualms about that. Okay, that match is going to be killer. That is going to be easily a 4-star match, if not 5-star. So then, we end the show with the Inner Circle pep rally. And there's cheerleaders, there's a marching band, and out of nowhere, Vicky Guerrero comes out to introduce the Inner Circle. And her tagline, because AEW has these little taglines above the wrestler's name when they're getting introduced, and her tagline was, "Get your earplugs ready." That made me laugh. I mean, if that didn't make you laugh, you have no sense of humor, you're a negative Nancy, you're just sad, okay? You are just sad, and you should seek help. That was funny. Vicky Guerrero's awesome. I'm happy that she's still able to participate in the pro wrestling world in some way. So anyway, they start the pep rally. She introduces the whole Inner Circle. They're in the ring, and Sammy says, "Hey, I know we didn't win." Sammy Guevara says this. "I know we did not win, but we sure as hell participated." And he gave participation trophies to everyone. And Chris Jericho's participation trophy said King of Dad Jokes. It was really funny. So then Santana decides, hey, I got something for y'all too. I have a New Yorican, that is a Puerto Rican from New York, a New Yorican gift basket that has chopped cheese, Vicks Vapor Rub, Timberland boots for Jake Hager, a picture of Mark Anthony for Chris Jericho, and a bottle of rum. Now, I'm Puerto Rican, so I understood why all of those were chosen. Me and my girlfriend were both laughing. We were both laughing our asses off at that. It was amazing. So then Jericho got Sammy a scooter because he was injured. Now he's not going to have to walk around because he has a scooter. And it was called the Hit Me Up Mobile. And he got earphones for Ortiz, who had his bell rung in the Stadium Stampede match. So then Jake Hager wrote a poem called Happiness, and he recited this poem. Okay, this was hilarious. I don't have the transcript of the poem, but I do implore, go and watch this pep rally specifically for Jake Hager's poem. Jake Hager is fucking awesome. He is hilarious. He is doing so good in this new role. You know, they used to have him in this real silent, stoic. But now that he's, you know, they used to have him in this real silent, stoic kind of gimmick. This really weird, like he just didn't talk and he just looked into the camera all crazy. But now that he's being able to show some personality and have some fun, it works. He's just a real funny dude. So then anyway, Sammy Guevara asks Chris Jericho what he wants more than anything. And Jericho responds by saying he wants Mike Tyson's head on a platter because of what he did to him in January of 2010 on a Monday night, referencing the 2010 episode of Raw when Mike Tyson knocked Jericho out. So Sammy Guevara says, I can't deliver you Mike Tyson's head on a platter, but what I can deliver is a cheese platter and a little bit of the bubbly. But when he opens the case where the cheese and the bubbly are supposed to be, it's not there. It is gone. So Jericho starts going on a tirade. Where is the bubbly? Where's the cheese? Where's the gifts? And Sammy's trying to explain, like, dude, I don't know. I don't know. It was here. It was supposed to be here. So then Mike Tyson enters. And he enters with fucking Henry Cejudo, Vitor Belfort, and Rashad Evans. And Mike Tyson has a little bit of the bubbly. And he has the cheese platter. So Tyson enters the ring and Jericho demands an apology from him for knocking him out. Tyson says, I'm not going to apologize to you. And Jericho says, if you not apologize to me, I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat. Don't say that to Mike Tyson. So the two groups start to brawl. The Inner Circle and Tyson and his posse, they all start to brawl. The whole locker room pours out to separate them. So they separate them and the show goes off the air. Really good show. Really, really, really good show. A 9 out of 10 show for me. 9 out of 10. The only reason it didn't get a 10 was because that Hangman Page Kenny Omega segment was picture-in-picture. And because Mark Quinn got injured, and that's really sad. That's not a perfect show. Not because I'm trying to talk shit to Mark Quinn, but just because that makes me sad. I hope he's okay. So I'm going to dock a point just because of unfortunate circumstance. But 9 out of 10, easy. Easy. And every week when I watch Dynamite, I realize 2 hours is the perfect length for a wrestling show. It just flies by. Like, I like wrestling, so I'm gonna watch all 3 hours of Raw. I love pro wrestling. I'm gonna get through the 3 hours, but I can't lie. Sometimes when you get to that third hour, it's hard to get through. But a 2-hour show literally flies by and leaves me wanting more, which is what a pro wrestling show should do. When it is over, you should be sitting there thinking, damn, it's over already? Like, no, I want there to be more. I want to see more. And so it gets you excited for next week. I think Dynamite has just been killing it. I really do. I think Dynamite is awesome right now. Like, especially considering all of the unfortunate circumstances that we are facing. I think they've taken lemons and made, like, they've taken very, very sour lemons and they have made some of the sweetest lemonade. I love AEW, man. I'm so glad that they are continuing to put on shows because the shows are just awesome. AEW is just awesome. There's no getting around that. So, a 9 out of 10 show, easy. 2 hours is a perfect length for a wrestling show. It really is. It just flies by. It's so easy to digest. I really enjoyed last night's show. I thought last night's show was awesome. If they continue producing shows like that, they're just going to keep going up and up and up and up, and they're going to break through every glass ceiling put in front of them. I think they're doing a really good job. I think you can feel the passion exuding from the wrestlers. So, that's it, guys. It was a really good show. I would implore you to go out and watch it. I think you will enjoy the show very much. I think you will find it to be a very easy watch. It was a really good show. It was really, really good. This is what professional wrestling is supposed to be, in my opinion. Not that Raw and Smackdown aren't good shows. Like, I love Raw and Smackdown, but AEW Dynamite is my favorite. It's my favorite. Well, guys, this has been Between the Bumps Professional Wrestling Podcast, the pro wrestling podcast where we go between the bumps in the ring to discuss match quality, storylines, wrestling news, and even make predictions in the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Christian Marrero. Stay safe and don't miss Saturday's Smackdown review show. I'll catch you later.